Okay, since people won't shut the fuck up, I've had to basically do another video outlining the reasons why I think it's so completely two-tier biased that obviously we're in a situation where people are trying to exploit white privilege to the point where actually we're completely forgetting the fact that literally just a few weeks ago, Yves Sakila was also murdered by police officers. But no, let's not do any police coverage on that or media coverage on that. But no, we'll all just start bending the knee and kneeling when actually we haven't even thought for a second about someone else of presenting colour that was also brutally murdered by police officers. What a strange fallacy that is, that all of a sudden we've got to subvert to this. All of a sudden we've got to defend the actions of someone who basically, like, was brutally, if not brutally murdered. Yes, I understand, right, that all people need to be respected with due diligence, and I do understand that people, obviously, that all crimes affect everyone. Obviously, it's not about race, and it shouldn't be about race. All lives matter, but unfortunately, that isn't the case, right? That isn't how it's presented in the media. And I can categorically say this as a white privileged male. I can say this, that actually, we are not representing both races equally. And I will say that. Can I make something emphatically clear? Yes, I understand that all people have to be, they have to have justice. And I understand that people, like police officers need to be held accountable because police brutality, in fact, is actually one of the biggest issues in this country following judicial misconduct and obviously perjury and perverting the course of justice, which is happening on many accounts, right? And honestly, I can reaffirm this, right? Because this is all we keep seeing online over the last week, right? It's just essentially like biased posts about White Lives Matter, even though literally that's like the thing that we've already ascertained because it's literally like white privilege and it's, the fact that basically, people are just completely undermining the fact that, that we all experience like racial hatred and we all experience like crimes, right? But for Nigel Farage, like obviously just to reaffirm the post I made last night, you cannot use this as an opportunity, as obviously Nigel has done, to reaffirm his racist ideology, right? To basically perpetuate the same bullshit, like apparently, oh my god, discrimination from police officers, even though you have literally built a career out of discriminating against the left and basically saying that, like, the police only back left-wing ideologies. The fucking hypocrisy, though, is insane. Well, it's funny this is because I did like just a quick live last night and I had a perpetrator come on and immediately he basically completely disregarded the life of Yves Sakila, UK citizen. Apparently his life didn't matter because he was black. And this is exactly what we're talking about, this level of two-tier policing that it's not even like the fact that it's two-tier policing, is it? It's the fact that like it's just racists using any opportunity to basically hide and like any form of plausible and just use plausible deniability to actually just make it about basically white people, which is really bizarre because I understand that all people are affected by crimes, but when you're just disregarding someone's life and their value as a UK citizen just because they are not white and they don't orientate themselves with your idea of basically white supremacist ideology, which is absolutely disgusting. The comments that these people keep making are absolutely sickening. What happened to Yves Sakila in Dublin, apparently because he had a minor criminal record, that apparently it was justified in being like unalived by police officers. Is that what you're insinuating?
No, but we're not talking about somewhere in Dublin. We're talking about a particular case
in
where
Dublin, it's a UK citizen.
In Dublin?
Yeah. You do realise Ireland's part of the UK, right?
Ireland?
You're that stupid.
I mean, no, I just think it isn't really that important as, in the relation of myself as an Englishman, I would think that if you're an African and you'd be pretty...
You've just made... This is the thing, like, that absolutely fucking blows my mind. I'm so glad that these... So, yeah. Next time you start making your prejudice conclusions, audiences, why not actually just consider that maybe there is a lot of biases around actually who's actually being investigated for two-tier policing. But what people don't understand is if you don't hold these criminals accountable, then they just get away with it. Because I'm not being funny, right? I'm going to be completely honest with you. As someone who is qualified in like criminology, what I find so suspicious is if you notice, if you look back at the video, you can clearly see that this piece of crap did not bother to examine the body properly for entry points, right? There was literally, all they did was like, and then, oh no, he's clean, that's fine. And it was literally just like that. There was nothing done to like respect like his, there was nothing done. They dragged him, they let him, gush out on the floor. I'm trying to use TikTok language here because I know this app is absolutely bullshit and censors absolutely everything. But, they just let him like, ink out all over the floor, and they didn't do anything to like actually respect the fact that like, he was about to unalive. And then when a woman actually came to actually examine him and she realised that his like pupils were completely dilated, that was when they realised, holy shit, we fucked up. But like, so rather than actually make this about race, let's get this piece of crap arrested. Let's hold the police accountable for what they did, because they were just as complicit in it as well. Rather than make this about a racial, like, sort of biased issue and basically saying that two-tier policing, it's nothing to do with two-tier policing. This is just police misconduct, and it's simple as that. So this is the biggest issue I have, is that people are perpetrating it out to be something like where, it's one person gunning for the other person, or someone's rooting for that because it's to do with racial identity. And I know I've been going on for a while now, and I hate the fact that I have to make this so emphatically clear, but the fact that people have got the attention spans on this app of a fucking fish, it doesn't rest assured surprise me that all of a sudden I'm having to explain the same point over and over again. Let's not make this about race, let's make it about actually holding the perpetrators accountable, right? The digger that actually like unalived like the victim, Henry, obviously he's been held accountable, he's been jailed. But that more has to be done. You can't just think that like this all of a sudden becomes super-sided just because we didn't choose to investigate the police officers. It's common sense. And this is what I mean, you don't care, because these people that claim to protect women and girls and younger people on the far right, we know for a fact that you don't do that because you love it when you get like attention from the police officers. We've seen this over the last 2 months, we've seen this over the last 4 months, we've seen this over the last several years, of you just agitating police officers so you can use them to justify your means, which in this case is basically making it about white privilege rather than protecting the victims that have basically lost their lives. So respectfully, to the right and the far right, go fuck yourselves and actually learn some sense of due diligence and respect for the victims.